So this is gonna be me finishing the unfinished business. Like I said, him and his family moved. They didn't tell anybody anything. They just packed their stuff and they left. Everyone in the neighborhood was so confused. But I kept my mouth shut. Like I said, I'm a real bitch. I needed to find the answers as to why. Why did he want to get rid of that tech guy so bad? Well. So I went to tech first period just to see who was all in the classroom. I didn't actually go in the classroom. I was just standing outside the classroom. Based on where my ex was saying that he sat in the room, I figured out who the tech guy was. As soon as the bell rang for first period to be over, I ran to that tech class. I stopped that guy that my boyfriend was talking about. I told him everything. And that is when he admitted to me that one day, they were hanging out. Mind you, this boy is a senior. My ex was a sophomore. They hooked up, but my ex was ashamed of what he did, so he threatened to say that he was taken advantage of. That boy said, well, I'm going to tell people the truth then if you're going to do that. So basically, my ex was embarrassed of his sexuality. After we started dating, he started to get super ashamed of what he did. And that's why he decided to shoot up the school. This is a story time of why I don't eat at other people's house no more. Me and my best friend, we were like 11 or 12 at the time, and we were having a sleepover at her house. We had hung out outside of school many times before. This would just be the first time I went over to her house. My mom drops me off and just lets me walk inside. When I went up to the door, my best friend answered and she was like, hey, can you grab a shoe? Immediately, I could tell that the house wasn't very clean, but I knew it wasn't her fault. It's not because she asked me to grab a shoe. I could see behind her and could tell that the house was just really messy. It really did look like an episode of Hoarders, but I grabbed a shoe and I helped her look for that fly. So it was me, my bestie, and her grandma looking for this big ass bug. We got a little tired, so we sat down to eat something and her grandma made us a snack. I was a little scared to eat, not gonna lie, but I didn't want to make my best friend feel bad, so I went ahead and ate my food. Well, I was only able to eat some of it because we had left the basement door open and we saw the bug fly down there. So we stopped eating, ran down to the basement, and we saw the bug fly behind this box. We moved this box, and I swear 100 families of spiders and their ancestors started spewing out, like for part 2. This is going to be part 2 of why I don't eat at other people's house no more. Like I said, so many spiders started spewing out from behind this box. I genuinely thought that these spiders were going to eat all of us alive. It was not a fun situation. We did not run fast enough. These spiders started crawling all over us. I think I saw a lighter somewhere and considered setting myself on fire. I want you guys to imagine like my whole entire body covered up with spiders. That's what it felt like, but there was only like 5 or 6 on me. The grandma gets a blanket and starts whipping us with it. She's like trying to dust the spiders off. I see my best friend start stripping. I was a little about that, but I was like, fuck it. Anything to get these spiders off. Once we felt like we were good, we ran upstairs. My best friend started crying to me and apologizing and saying how much she hates her life and how she's so embarrassed. But I told her that all is good and this doesn't change the way that I see her at all. We have our little moment and then we sit down to eat again. And you know, I'm going in on my little SpaghettiOs. But all of a sudden, it starts getting crunchy. I ignore it and I get down to the bottom of the bowl. When I look down, there is a half-eaten spider in the bottom of the bowl, like for part 3. This is going to be part 3 of why I don't eat at other people's house anymore. So like I said, I was munching and grunching on some SpaghettiOs. It's getting crunchy and I'm like, what's this crunch? Where's all this crunch coming from? I was like, bruh, it's probably some expired SpaghettiOs, but let me finish this bowl so my friend don't feel bad. When I got to the end and there was only some soup left, I saw a half-eaten spider. The same spiders that we had seen downstairs. My body? It started vibrating. I was shaking. I seized out. I think I passed out. This was not a good situation. I did have a phobia of spiders. I told my best friend, listen, babes, I love you. You know I love you. But this cannot go on no longer. I'm gonna have to go home. I felt like such a terrible friend, but I did call my mom. And she came to get me and she took me home. I told her what happened and she was upset with my friend's grandma. From then on, we only had sleepovers at my house. And ever since my family found out about her living situation, we would go over there sometimes to help them clean. We would bring food and games. I'm grown now, but me and this girl ended up falling out because of some drama. This is why you should never trust your friend if they tell you that their pet don't bite. Charla Nash would go over to her friend's house, Sandra, every now and then to watch over her 200-pound chimpanzee. Charla knew straight off the bat that she did not like that chimpanzee because it always scared her. There was even a time where the chimpanzee jumped on Charla's back and ripped out a chunk of her hair. Charla started crying, but her friend Sandra thought it was funny. Sandra would not be laughing at anything that chimpanzee did much longer after this day. One day, Charla gets a call from Sandra saying her chimpanzee wouldn't go back in the cage and she needed some help. Charla drove over there to help her friend, and immediately after, Sandra would have to call the police. By the time the police arrived, Charla was laying on the ground with half of her face eaten off, no jaw, her nose hanging from her face by a piece of her skin, and with both of her hands ripped off. This is what Charla looked like before her attack. Her entire face was mutilated after the attack, but since the photos are super graphic, they'll be posted on my Instagram story. Part 2 will include the unsettling phone call Sandra made to the police and how she described her friend getting eaten and ripped apart. This is going to be part 2 of why you should never trust your friend if they tell you that their pet don't bite. Sandra never imagined that after she called her friend over to help her put her 200-pound chimpanzee back in his cage, since he wouldn't go in, she would have to make a phone call to the police and report how her chimpanzee ate her friend alive. This is the audio clip.
Please!
What's the problem with your friend? I need to know.
Let the police up! With a gun! With a gun! Hurry
Who
up!
has a gun?
Please, hurry up! He's killing my girlfriend!
What is the problem?
He's killing my friend!
Who's killing your friend?
My chimpanzee!
Oh, your chimpanzee is killing your friend.
He ripped her apart! Hurry up! And she's dead. She's dead.
Why are you saying that she's dead?
She's dead. He ripped her apart.
Charla actually ended up surviving. She was rushed to the hospital where they said she looked like she had gone through a meat grinder. Charla is very lucky to still be with us today. The most recent update about Charla is in her interview with Oprah that I have linked in my Instagram story. Look what came in the mail today. Okay, I know it looks like a white box, but I'm gonna open it so you guys can see what's inside. We got Vanity Cosmetics, bitch. I made the PR list. Anyways, if you guys don't know what Vanity Cosmetics is basically owned by one of my mutuals on TikTok who also does story time. He does makeup story times like I do makeup story times, so if you're interested in me, you might really like her too. So you should check out her page. Her name is 𝙤𝙧𝙗𝙧𝙗, tagged in the caption. So let's get into what is in this box. Can I just say, like, the packaging, like, this is top tier. Like, I feel bougie as fuck. This gave us scrunchies. Like, look at the color match. It's perfect and I didn't even ask for it. Look at this. What? It's a cute little sticker. It says do no harm but take no shit. Purr. This has to be the best lash packaging I've ever seen. Good sis is in the fucking Matrix. Look at this. Sweet. Look how cute this lip gloss is. It's the palette colors for me, baby. We're trying out all these products in a separate. This is gonna be a story time of when my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. Let's get right into it. So my mom had died when I was younger and my dad had remarried. So I had a stepmom and she had a son. This motherfucker, let me tell you, we did not get along. I fought with him all the time, but it's because he was a little bitch. He would always bully me and my little sister and make fun of our weight. He would threaten to beat us up just for fun. Like, you in our house, get it together. I began to scold my dad because he was the one who brought them in this fucking house and he wasn't doing nothing about it. He knew they were tearing our family apart and he did nothing. So, anyways, one night, my parents weren't home and my stepbrother had to watch me and my little sister. Like I said, he was a little bitch, so he was upset because he had plans to hang out with his girlfriend. But that really sounds like a personal problem. Let me stop coming at this man. It's just making me angry thinking about it. So my dad had sent my stepbrother money so he could go get groceries so he could make us dinner. But my stepbrother didn't want to, so he sent me instead. Oh, mind you, I was like 12 at the time. And he sent me alone and my little sisters were sleeping. When I came home and knocked on the door, I noticed that our dog didn't run up to see who was at the door like she usually did. Then I smelled something coming from the kitchen, like for part 2. This is gonna be part 2 of how my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. So like I said, I got home from the grocery store and our dog didn't run up to the door like she usually did. I didn't think much of it and then I smelled something coming from the kitchen. What could he possibly be cooking if there's no groceries? And no, I didn't automatically think, oh, he's cooking our dog. Just hold on. Whatever was cooking on the stove smelled like shit. It made the whole house stink, but like I said, I didn't think too much of it. Now that I think of it, I heard the laundry machine going and my family had a set schedule for laundry. Like, we never did laundry off schedule, so that was kind of weird. My parents are just very organized people, besides the point. So I go upstairs to wake up my little sister and I see my stepbrother pass me and go down to the kitchen. An hour or so goes by and he calls us downstairs and says dinner is ready. All he did was boil some corn, give us canned peas, and some slab of meat. The meat was burnt, by the way, but I guess food is food. So we started eating this atrocious meal, and all I could think about were these tiny little hairs that just kept going in my mouth. I kept pulling pieces out my mouth. Mind you, this hair had no color. It was burnt. Now our dog loved to eat dinner with us, but she was nowhere to be seen. I started looking for her and I realized that she's missing. This is gonna be part 3 of the time my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to us for dinner. So like I said, I started looking around for the dog. I asked my little sister if she's seen her. She said no. So I asked my stepbrother and he says no too. Somebody fucking lie. Who the fuck is lying? Cause it ain't fucking me. Let me fucking stop. Okay, so we trying to find this dog. I call my dad. He says she probably ran away, but no one let her outside that day. And I know she didn't just go outside. So the days pass and we're still looking for her and we hang up missing posters. I got my friends to help me. My dad's looking, my stepmother, my little sister, and even my stepbrother. As time goes on, my little sister and I began to fall sick. We go to the doctor. They say we have stomach problems. They said it was probably from something that we ate. And I'm thinking to myself, what abnormal thing did I eat? That random slab of meat. Because there was no groceries. Where the fuck did he find that meat from? So I'm putting pieces together. You know, we're falling sick. The meat was hairy. Our dog is missing. Eventually, my dad ends up finding the dog, but it was dead and cut up. This is gonna be part 4 of the time my stepbrother cooked our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. So my dad ends up finding our dog hidden under some sticks in our backyard, but it was dead and cut into pieces. I might have been 12, but I wasn't dumb. I knew what the fuck was going on. So once my dad brings us this news, after he's done telling us what he found, I pulled him to the other room. I told him what I peeped. I was sobbing and I told him I think it was my stepbrother who did it. I told him about the dog not meeting me at the door, the smell of the kitchen, the hairs, the laundry, the fact that we got sick. I gave him all the puzzle pieces. But he told me that he didn't believe me. He said, and I quote, "Your stepbrother might be mean to you, but he's not crazy." I said, because it's right there. It is right in front of you. Like, the evidence speaks for its fucking self. I ain't gotta say too much. So my dad ends up not doing anything to my stepbrother. He faced literally 0 consequences. I'm 19 now and I don't talk to him anymore. Till this day, I 110% believe that my stepbrother did it.
Everywhere I go, I see the world changing. Don't care what you think of me, I'm not changing. I'm not changing. I'm not changing. Don't care what you think of me, I'm not changing.
$100 right there, so she thought it wasn't fake. Bitch didn't even know she was getting her own money back. So I sent her $1,000 a week for 5 weeks in exchange for pictures. Well, once all the money ran out, it was time for revenge. I gathered up all the pictures that she sent me, made a fake page pretending to be her, and sent the pictures to her parents, her job, the school, and to multiple girls' boyfriends on Instagram with the text, "Break up with your girlfriend because I'm bored, but shh, don't tell anyone." Like for part 4. This is part 4 of why they call me Miss Petty. So after I catfished my boyfriend's girl best friend and posted her nudes everywhere and sent them to a lot of girls' boyfriends, obviously she was getting so much backlash and everybody was posting about it and everybody was coming at her. So many people wanted to beat her ass. It was hilarious. She kept trying to say, "No, it's not me behind the fake page," but nobody believed her. She had to go completely ghost on social media. Little did everybody know I was the mastermind behind the whole thing. She didn't show up to school for like a week or so, but then the day that she came back, I'm not exactly sure why she came back, but she got jumped by 5 girls. But not only did she get jumped, they threw her in the trash can. I almost felt bad until I remembered how long and luscious my hair used to be. Let this be a reminder to everybody to just stay in your lane. Eventually, she dropped out of that college, and I'm guessing she went to some other college, but everybody hated her there, so she had to move. Damn, karma really is a bitch, and so is your mama. Story time of why I'm terrified of ever babysitting again. I started babysitting for this one family in the summer of 2019. I have my information for babysitting online, so people contact me. So the mom contacted me and said she wanted me to babysit for her 3 kids. So we set up a time and schedule. She gave me her address, you know, the usual. So when I got to her house, she had already left like 5 minutes before I arrived, and I see the kids sitting in the living room watching TV. But then I see this man walking down the steps. This man, who I was assuming was the dad. He asked me who I was, and I said I was the babysitter and that I sorted things out with the mom, and if he wanted to make sure he could like call her. Well, he told me that he was the dad and that he knew I was coming. He just didn't expect me to come so early and so suddenly. I was kind of confused as why they needed a babysitter if he was already there. So I was like, okay, so he wouldn't be able to get into the house if if it wasn't actually the dad, so it has to be him. Well, the mom texts me and says she's on her way home, so I put the kids to sleep and then I go home. Half an hour later, I get a text from the mom saying the kids are gone. When I described that man I saw, she said that sounded a lot like her ex-husband who has a spare key to their house. This is part 4 of why they call me Miss Petty. So after I catfished my boyfriend's girl best friend and posted her nudes everywhere and sent them to a lot of girls' boyfriends, obviously she was getting so much backlash and everybody was posting about it and everybody was coming at her. So many people wanted to beat her ass. It was hilarious. She kept trying to say, no, it's not me behind the fake page, but nobody believed her. She had to go completely ghost on social media. Little did everybody know I was the mastermind behind the whole thing. She didn't show up to school for like a week or so, but then the day that she came back, I'm not exactly sure why she came back, but she got jumped by 5 girls. But not only did she get jumped, they threw her in the trash can. I almost felt bad until I remembered how long and luscious my hair used to be. Let this be a reminder to everybody to just stay in your lane. Eventually, she dropped out of that college and I'm guessing she went to some other college, but everybody hated her there, so she had to move. Damn, karma really is a bitch and so is your mom.